Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm Teri at Holding Your Space, and this is Nancy Rebecca. So, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for inviting me.
yeah. We talk a lot about you on the channel.
Oh, do
So,
you?
yes, we do. We really do. Hi, Millie. Hi, Audrey. Good to see you, everybody. Brenda T. Randy. Um, Yeah, we talk a lot about you because, we were so excited to find you,
Mm,
um, and it seems like more people are talking about the blue light now and the
mhm.
energy that's coming in and
Yeah,
the changes and how it changes our everything about us.
yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's been a couple people have sent a couple of videos to me where they're having a conversation about things that I said and did or what I'm talking about. And I'm just like, that's kind of trippy. Well, especially, and I imagine not only you, but your viewers know what it's like to uh, you're always trying to talk about this with different people, and they're very kind of disinterested, or they don't seem as if um, like they think you're kind of strange or whatever, and so you just kind of grow into that, kind of keeping it to yourself in
Yeah.
those ways. And for me, with the blue light, um, I started talking about it in 2017 with my students, some of my clients. I'd get excited about it. But it was, you know, I think by the time we got to 2023, when I did the interview with Pam Gregory, who she had phoned me to talk about the blue light, um, by that time, my circle was still very, very small. And then all of a sudden, to find out that people were really, really interested in the topic, it was like kind of mind blowing a little bit.
And well, it's just such an exciting time. We were talking about that backstage, everybody, about, what an exciting time it is to be alive right now.
Yeah,
And when you find somebody, like you said, it's not like it's polite dinner conversation. "Oh, what are you doing lately?" "I'm playing with blue light."
that's right. I'm talking to star beings. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Well, and before that, I am a registered nurse, and I had a spontaneous out of body experience after, I call it, my down on my knees moment. I was married to a police officer. I was an intensive care cardiac recovery nurse at the time that I kind of had my kind of probably psychic awakening, although at the time it was called a mental breakdown. Uh, I had three of my own family members who were in the different stages of dying. And it was just like the loss was just so overwhelming. And here I'm trying to be, a mom with two preteens, and it was just so stressful. And I call it my down on my knees, because I literally locked my bedroom door and I got on my knees, and I just said, God, can you please help me understand why people have to die? And 3 days later, I had an out of body experience, and that was the divine's way of showing me that we don't die, that our body, we leave our body, but our spirit lives on. And that was an unbelievable concept to me that was hard to wrap my mind around. But just like anyone who's had a spiritual experience, when you're kind of downloaded with that wisdom and that knowledge, it's kind of in your bones all of a sudden. It
yeah,
isn't. It's just like you just know it, and you're knower. And that's how it all started. But for me, I could see suddenly. I suddenly became sighted, so I could see in both the spirit world and the physical world at the same time. However, I drew the line at star beings I'd never heard of. So literally had never heard of star beings. And definitely extraterrestrials. No, I drew the line at that. That was just like, I felt like, mostly because I'm a nurse, that I see that daily struggle with depression and anxiety, it's like, how can we talk about extraterrestrials or star beings or outer space and Star Trek when there's like real world problems? So that was, I had enough on my plate to not go there. So when the star being showed up, you know, it's not like they were going to take that answer of, I don't do star beings, you know, it just wasn't going to work that way. And so since then, that was in 2017, I've done a really deep dive to understand more about otherworldly beings. Yeah. It's been a lot of fun, actually.
That's amazing. Um, so do you feel like it was kind of an instant awareness? I call that Diamond Sutra, where all of a sudden you're out in a field and you awaken, or you're on your knees in your bedroom and you're like, you just get a huge download.
I would say that, but from my nursing perspective, the only perspective that I had was from medical school, which taught me that I was insane, or I was having insane experiences.
Yeah.
And so I literally wanted to get in the car and drive myself to to a mental hospital. So, no, I did not believe what I was experiencing was real. Although I was having some really real experiences that could be validated very, very quickly. Um, you know, where I might see my hospice patient whose brother has crossed over, is on the other side, standing next to him while he's sitting in his chair, and then he'd say, "Oh, I feel my brother around all of a sudden." So I was having those instant validations. But my mother is a doctor of psychology and my father's a medical doctor, and so they both said, "Don't you dare go to the hospital." Mostly because as I'm talking to you, I was just like this. It's just that I was like, I'm seeing all these colors and things. And so it was my parents really helped me um, see if we could do some research to find out what was happening. They knew I was sane, but they didn't know what was happening to me either. To answer your question, which I feel like this is what's happening in the world right now with humanity, with the blue light.
Right.
People are suddenly able to see blue light beings, or they're suddenly able to hear people's thoughts and communicate telepathically, or they're suddenly able to know that you're sad, but they have no way of knowing that you're sad. So they suddenly know these things, and they know them with such certainty, but they don't know what to do with it. That's where I was.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with it. And I didn't know how to find help.
Well, you certainly had a nice soul contract with your parents to pick the right ones.
Yeah.
Doing the right thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it? When all of a sudden you learn how to do these things. And a lot of us are awakening with the gifts and seeing things. Somebody this morning in meditation was like, I see this and I see that and I see that. And I'm like, great, that's awesome. But it is an awakening and seeing with new eyes. So do you feel like with this that we have new chakras as well? Or new energy centers?
Well, I don't, I know in our Western culture, you know, just traditionally we work with the main seven. I've always seen hundreds, if not thousands of chakras.
Yeah.
So that's a reality. And it just depends on which dimension your astral body or your soul is functioning within. So you will have greater access to that other knowledge. I don't know why it's always like, here's a garbage truck that's coming by. So, do we have new chakras? No, we just are elevating in our consciousness to the point that now more chakras are available to us. So it'd be like our DNA. There's aspects of our DNA that are dormant. We have access to some of the chakras that are dormant until we're ready for them.
Right.
And then they awaken to us. That's my sense about things.
I love that. Randy says, "I let go of my limiting beliefs, and then the dragon showed up."
Exactly. Exactly, exactly. And it was, when I went to China, I mean, a lot of dragons started showing up before then, and then when I went to China, it's like, there's a lot of dragons in China, a lot.
Oh, I bet.
And they build their skyscrapers with great big, I wouldn't say holes in the middle, 'cause they build them that way, but so the dragons can fly through without hitting the building. They literally build their skyscrapers like that.
That is amazing. That is amazing. We have
Yeah. And
mm,
it's just our world, our Western culture is, especially here in the United States, it's just like I feel so bad for us because and I don't even know what that is, but when I went to China, I expected them to half think I was crazy, but in actuality, they were like, "Oh no, we have psychics all the time. We have prophets all the time. We have healers all the time." But they would all want to test me to see what kind of psychic I was, what kind of they didn't want me to prove myself. They just wanted wanted to know how I gather information. And it was kind of exhausting because, you can't sell intuitive information, for $1 million to some people here in our Western culture. But over there, it was just like they were just always, well, tell me about this and tell me about that and tell me what you're seeing here and there. And it would be pretty exhausting. I wasn't used to being accepted, I guess, or having my abilities accepted, or get to hang out with other people who use their abilities all the time.
That's so exciting. Yeah, the Eastern, um, countries seem that or societies, cultures seem like they are much more accepting of, based in the Vedas and whatnot, and so much Buddhism and Hinduism.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
ancient learnings or teachings rather. Yeah.
Mm, yeah. When I went to China, because I was guided to go to China to find out the prophecy for the blue light, it was interesting that once I was given the prophecy, the Chinese people got really quiet and they just looked at each other. And I'm like, what's happening here? And they said that what I shared with them, they have literally read in a book that was 1,500 years old. So it had been known that long before that there would be this blue light and blue star people coming to the earth at this time.
I kind of feel like, so I don't know if, blue light and diamond sutra are the same, but I kind of feel like often they are what I call diamond sutra. But,
So what is Diamond Sutra? I've not heard that term before.
diamond sutra is like instant awakening. And it's
Mhm.
like what you had in your
Mhm.
bedroom that time.
Mhm.
What Jesus and Moses probably had when they're in the desert.
Mhm.
Um, what happened to Eckhart when he was, feeling like he was going to lose it completely, and the next day he awoke.
Mhm.
So just, and people have it, and sometimes they think, like you said, they think you're insane or you think you're insane, but all of
Mhm.
a sudden you have a great awakening. And there is a sutra like the Sutras of Patanjali's ancient Vedic books, and
Mm.
that's the one that's missing. It's hard to find that one, so it's really obscure.
Oh,
Anyway, I just find it intriguing that all this is coming out right now and that they knew about it. It's brilliant.
yes, they knew about it, and it is interesting because the information that I've been getting more recently is, that so I would say that no, the blue and the diamond are not the same,
Okay.
because there is a diamond light that is coming in with this solar eclipse coming up.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Good. I was
But it
wondering.
is blended with the blue light, so, it's like the diamond light's kinda like just like a diamond can cut through anything. So the diamond is that way. And then the blue comes through and helps like wash out the dust, or like a pressure washer. The diamond's like the pressure washer, and then the blue comes in and helps layers of it. I'm going to be talking more about that over, the next couple of weeks, in a couple of months. And so, yes, so that's really cool that you are already picking up on that, Teri.
This is so exciting. I'm like, finally people that talk our talk, right, everybody? You're right there. And we've been working with that high heart energy too, the rose quartz, the pink energy a lot. And it's had such a calming effect on everybody. There's a lot of energy that comes in with the blue light.
Yeah, I really think, the blue has been around a long time. I was talking to an elder medicine man who he had phoned me, but he said the blue light is the creator. So it's like God coming back to earth is how he kind of describes it. And that's how I like to describe more. It's more the light that's impactful. The blue light beings are, they're very wise, and they're very caring, and they're very benevolent, and they really are so encouraging of us and humanity. But the star of the show is the frequency of the blue light. So, and the blue light beings selected to work with blue light. That's why they're blue. So that's why they're always wanting to remind us it's the blue light that's center stage. It's not them, So it's like, if we could see, each other in that pure light, you'd probably see us all blue, and somebody would call us blue light beings. We just happen to be working with a lot of blue frequency right now.
Yeah. Wow. That makes perfect sense. I love this. So, when you see the blue light beings, what do you see? Obviously blue, but
yeah, I would say the biggest, they look just almost identical to the movie Avatar. I wouldn't say that they're that tall. They're not as tall. They're definitely bluer, but they do have the long arms, the long, slim body. But when I see them, they're very luminescent blue. So it'd be almost like I can see through them. And they do have large eyes, but they don't have large eyes like the grays have eyes. Their eyes are they're like very gentle, very calming, very soothing to look at. I don't see them with hair. So, they've got these rounded heads, but they do have like this elongated feature to them. In the face, but all of it's gentle. It's all very, very gentle. And sometimes I'll ask the question, like, are you like real? Like, are you real, or are you a gathering of energy? Like, I try to understand. So what they tell me is that it's almost like holographic projection. So it's almost like that they can still function on their planet, and then they can send part of their essence here to help us. Just like if we travel in our astral body somewhere else, our physical body is still here, but our astral body can be in another dimension or another part of the world.
Yeah. That's interesting. And so, because I see our astral bodies or our light bodies as looking like a hologram. When we look at that, so that makes a lot of sense. It makes me think about, this is silly, but Apple's new glasses, right?
Yeah.
Where you're just, this is our future.
Yeah. No, I was just talking to somebody else about that the other day. That it can look very real in that way. But then it's like, well, what is reality? And that's what the blue light is. The blue light's all about shedding illusions. It's just shedding the illusions in the world that we've been living through, or we'll call it the filters, or if you're into the matrix kind of stuff, it's like, it's just that the illusions can no longer exist in that frequency. And so then that's why the truth of and the reality is in our face. And the blue light beings, shared with me early on, you would think that sounds lovely, but people are going to struggle with having the truth of themselves, right in their face. It to be able to see, and they've explained, like where before they might not have taken responsibility for their behaviors, but then suddenly they're like, whoa, that situation wouldn't have happened like that if I hadn't caused a fuss, in this way. So they're really good things that are happening, but it can be hard, like not being able to validate the truth that you're a wonderful person. It's like, what are you going to do with all of a sudden, every aspect of yourself is an incredible human being, and you can no longer use the excuses that you're inadequate. What are you going to do with that? So it's such a great time that we're living in, not just for ourselves as individuals, but to see the whole world is going through the same thing.
Yeah. So this culture is so based in shame and karma, right? That every day we have to get up and we have to have that cup of coffee and we have to drive to work or whatever we're doing, and we have to be in a relationship that we don't like, or
Yeah.
or whatever it is. We have very limited beliefs,
Yeah.
like somebody was saying earlier here, and letting go of those limited beliefs is a huge struggle. Yeah, and
Yeah. It's not going to continue to be a struggle, though. That's the thing. If the blue light comes in and all of a sudden you just drop all that shame, or you drop all that guilt, or you drop all, then it's just like, whoa. Like when a few years ago, like I really battled with a lot of insecurity, or it was really hard to stand in front of a group of people. And if the blue light beings come and I'm like, I think you got the wrong address, on that package you're wanting to deliver to me. And so I'm sure that everyone who's listening in, that they all have a calling. I would imagine that you all come together and you talk about these things, and you can work at these levels, these higher levels, and you're called to work at these higher levels. But to work at it in a bigger way, you feel too insecure. And then all of a sudden, one day, the insecurity just dropped. And it was like, okay, well, at this point, insecurity would have made me incapacitated, but it's not here now. So now what am I going to do? And I still do that. It's like, okay, here I would have felt too insecure to say this. And so, yeah, it's fascinating for me to watch what's happening with people. It's wonderful.
So do you feel like this stepping into this manifesting, or stepping into this light of awareness, witnessing awareness, also has to do with letting go of that shadow with the blue light so that we can maintain it?
Yeah, well, when that first surge of blue light came through, and I was watching it like you would be watching a movie on my clairvoyant screen. And when I watched, it was almost like the scaffolding of this black scaffolding and different floors of a high-rise building. But anyway, it just collapsed. And the first thought I had in my mind was, oh, did hell just collapse? Because it was way below the earth.
Yeah.
Did hell just collapse? Did karma cycles just collapse? And in my mind, I'm like, I am not witnessing this. There's no way I can be witnessing this. Like, it was such a shock. So yes, it is collapsing. It's not totally gone yet, but that's our shadow. Our shadow's collapsing. So when we're used to always having to deal with our shadow, and then the shadow's kind of collapsing and integrating, and the beautiful knowledge that comes out of our shadow stuff gets integrated, then what are we going to do? And that's what we get to have choices about now.
You know, it's so interesting. I feel like I'm going through a lot of this right now, and I think a lot of us here are, where and what you said makes perfect sense about all of a sudden you're looking at what's going on in your life, and it's roses. It's like beautiful, and you're like, well, what's going to happen next?
Yeah, exactly. You expect the other shoe to drop.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
and then it doesn't, and you're just waiting because that was the system that you were in. Yeah.
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 So, as this is happening, what's the best advice you can give for everybody? Is it being in a state of curiosity? Um, um, I don't know. What is it that we can do to help ourselves going through this?
Um, well, definitely curiosity is my main, I think has been my saving grace my whole life, as I'm very curious how things work. And when something, I could see something that that nobody has ever talked about, having the potential to see these different things. It's like, well, that's curious. So yeah, it's helped me out a lot to explore more with my curiosity. But and I'm not one to give a lot of advice, because I believe you really need to get your own information. But if I were to say, I'll just share with you what I shared with my students this week. And it's like, if you can just learn to do one thing between now and the end of 2024, talk to your own spirit, get confident with your trust and your faith in your intuitive information that comes through. Trust that it's clean and clear, and that it is right enough to take action. Because we can sit on the couch and be intuitive all day long, but if you don't trust it enough to take action with what it asks you to do, what your spirit's asking you to do. And there was something that my spirit, I wish I could remember what it was. It was something so outrageous. And I'd gotten some information from somebody else. And so I was talking to my spirit. I was quite excited about it. And you know how when you say, it feels right, or that really resonates with me, or wow, that really hit me, at a soul level. And then I went to talk to my higher self. My higher self's like, yeah, you can go down that road. You can turn left. So how long do you want to go down their road before you get back on track onto your road? And I was like, oh, wow, that's totally what I would be doing. So, I wouldn't get that if I hadn't asked my higher self. So my biggest recommendation for everybody is start talking to your higher self. And your higher self is that portion of your spirit that does not reside in the body. I'm probably singing to the choir here with you and your listeners, but one of my more advanced students asked me the other day, what exactly is your higher self, after studying with me for a while. So I said, well, let's say you're sitting by the edge of the pool and your feet are dangling in the water. What's the part of your legs that's below the water is the part of your spirit that comes into the body, and the part sitting next to the side of the pool that's not in the water is your higher self. So it's not two different spirits. It's the same one, just one part of your spirit gets to live within the limitations and belief systems and dichotomies of the body, and the higher self doesn't. So you want to get really good about sending the messages upstairs and asking your higher self. And your higher self, it's what I love about the higher self is it's not like this angelic, ascended being. Like, you talk to your higher self says, you come on in here, sweetheart, and you just sit down. You just tell me who was mean to you today. Tell me all about it. Like that's your higher self. that's that part of your soul that is here and has your back on earth. So that's what I would say is get to know your higher self really, really well, and only talk to your higher self and get that information and trust it and take action.
Yeah, I love that. Lori, that's funny. This is so funny to hear. I keep having ideas and thoughts, writing things. So when I get quiet and talk to the higher realm, all I hear is not yet.
Yep, exactly. And then just trust that. Yeah, trust that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to get in a little bit of trouble with my higher self because I would go places, like to Unity. I'd be in temple or whatnot, and then I'd be in, or at a funeral or celebration of life or something, and I'd be up flying with everybody. And I would be in my body. I'd hear the music, and I'd see everybody up there flying, and I'd go around, and they were like, "Get back in there."
That's right. That's right. It's like your higher self saying, I paid big money for you to get a ticket to come down here on earth, and I'm not going to have you wasting it by trying to fly to other dimensions.
Yeah, quit playing around, kid. Get busy.
Well, you could play around, just play around in your body.
Well, there you go. That
Yeah.
is so true, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the other part, isn't it? Being joyful,
Yeah.
having fun with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because your spirit loves to have fun, a lot of fun. Yeah.
Wow. So let's see. Oh, good. We have time. Can we talk about manifesting? We were talking about that backstage a little bit.
Yeah. I'm happy to talk about that.
I would love that. So how do you go about it? What is your method? What does it look like? What does it feel like?
So, well, first of all, you want to have an idea of what you desire to manifest. So, and not a shopping list that's 3 pages long. It's like just really, really, if the world was going to end next week, what is one thing that you would really love to have happen in your life? And so that's what I always like, let's just pare it down. Let's just get to the meat of the matter. Like, what is it that you really, really desire? And I always say it's important to ask for human things too, because often as spiritual beings, having a human experience, then we want world peace, and we want people to be joyful and happy, and we want kindness to spread upon the earth, and often my higher self say, okay, that's a given, that already exists here on earth. But how do you want that to manifest in your life? So how do you want to bring it down into the body? So spirit's always telling me that it's important to ask for things for your physical body as well, like getting a new dress, or going and having a facial, or going and exercising. Or your human self has really wanted a car that's all your own, that you don't have to share with anybody else. So you want to put that in. But the manifesting piece is you want to strongly feel emotionally about it. So I think about emotions as like the honey that's in the honeycomb. It's like the honeycomb is like the structure of what you want to manifest, and the honey is just dripping off of it, that beautiful emotion and beautiful desire. And it's the emotion that carries the weight of what you want to manifest to the universe. Like, it has more weight to it. It's not like a see-through butterfly where it's like, oh, they'd like to have that if that works out, if we happen to have time. Oh, I can see they want that boyfriend or that girlfriend, but it's not really, and but then they see the butterfly that's in full color.
Yeah.
And the wings are really expanded and it really wants to go high. And then they're like, okay, that's the one we need to listen to. And so often, we'll think, oh, I really wanted this, and God's not answering my prayers and everything. But it isn't, and we'll hear like God or the divine says, I know what's best for you. And that's true, but you know what's best for you. And so often you think, you want to manifest these things, but I just kind of put it in that visual, because the more emotion that you have in it, it has a higher chance of manifesting at the human level, because emotions and creativity are human. So it's like it has an easier time manifesting at the human level if you put a lot of emotion into it. So I lived in South Africa, and the Zulu Sangomas there, they'll get down on their knees. So I highly suggest just getting on your knees for what you want. And they would just be saying their prayers and sending them up, and my son's struggling and my daughter's struggling and I don't have any money, and then they would just get down on the ground, they would just sob, and people around him would be sobbing and sobbing because they're joining with this powerful emotion. And so one of the Sangomas said to me, so why do they do it that way when they're wanting to manifest, abundance or something? And they, because they really want God to feel sorry for them. And so I said, does that work? And they were like, yeah, it really works. So they said it's actually the emotion is the number one ingredient to manifest what you want at a human level, at the 3D level. A lot of emotion and gratitude, of course.
Yeah.
Gratitude is if you've already received it. So once I learned that, I just make sure I really select what I want, just really, really what I want to happen. And then I just kind of let myself feel it in my heart. I can feel the love. I can feel the gratitude. I kind of feel, what would that feel like if I had this ability, or this come to me? How would I feel that? And then I feel into gratitude. So I really go through all the layers of the feeling aspect of what I want to manifest.
I think going into your senses, your subtle senses, or your emotions, I love that. Do you think that there's a component of that? It sounds like the Zulus were using group emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I know that the power of meditation is so much stronger in group
Right.
too.
Yeah.
And it just kind of builds on itself, especially when you're a tribe, whether it's meditation tribe or a Zulu tribe, and you're all together on a regular basis and your energy knows that energy.
Yeah. 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 No, it makes a lot of sense. Makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. It feels so beautiful. So can you talk about dragons, whales, elementals, or um, are you seeing more of that coming in?
Yeah, it's definitely coming in. And so let's see, in 2022, I went to Ireland and I was asked by the goddess Morgan. She's a triple goddess. So she came in during COVID. And so one of her gifts and abilities is to cross over thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of people who have died. I didn't know this. So my friend who's Irish, Maria, when I phoned her and I said, I have this goddess, Morgan, there's a lot of crows around. Anyway, she hung up. And she had to call her mom in Ireland really quickly. She goes, I don't know what to say. And she thought it meant that I was going to die. But in actuality, COVID was announced shortly after that. And so Morgan was around because there was a lot of people that did not survive that virus. So Morgan and I had already been having a conversation. So now in 2022, when I went to Ireland, and Morgan said that there was a place in Ireland where the underworld is blocked, and the underworld is there's coming a time in the frequency on the earth that the underworld is now becoming safe for them to come to the middle world again. And so that's what we did. There was a group of us that went over and opened up the portal, that opening to the underworld. And so, yes, there are a lot of beings coming back to the surface. I can see them around. I can see a lot of the little people in the yard. I can see many different levels of beings. And it's interesting because I've never seen Bigfoot or Sasquatch before, but it's like, I have that feeling, that sense about the strength of that being that's coming to the surface, and that I imagine would be revealed fairly soon. And I was talking to Pam Gregory, and so she said, well, the planets are da 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 da, which means that animals that we haven't seen before, we will start to see on the surface, and that the underworld is becoming very active. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's getting very, very active.
Yeah. We hear a lot of like the bison as they're running across the prairie, and the whales and whatnot. And
Yes.
a lot of the people here are dragon people.
Yeah.
But
Well, the blue beings of light, very much dragons are around the blue star people, and whales and dolphins. But the thing about an octopus, but sometimes it's like the whales are the dragons and the dragons are the whales. So I'll see them kind of shapeshift in that way.
oh wow.
Um, but they are very high ascended masters. So they are really coming in to work with people to bring through that higher level of wisdom and knowledge for all of humanity. And my sense, well, about the dragons is I tend to work with people who are comfortable with the acceleration on the earth, because the dragons help accelerate everything. And so they usually only work with people who are able to be comfortable with the acceleration on the earth.
Do you feel like there's like I feel like the kiddos that are being born now, and in the last generation, are just incredible. But do you feel like some of them are dragons incarnate, or they've worked with the dragons perhaps in a previous life?
I don't know that that I've even tapped in to ask that sort of question. So I guess I would just, say to
Sure.
trust whatever information that you're getting about that. But I do know that the young people, they're so, so, so different. They're just, they look at the world so differently. And I have a grandson who's 22, another one at 16, and a granddaughter who's 13. And I know they look at us as if it's like, how come you don't get it? And I have to remind them, I'm 65, so I have to remind them that, I started off with a black and white television that was only on like 2 hours a day.
Right?
You
We
know,
paid cash or check.
we didn't have, phones and all of that stuff, and the medicine and everything. The learning curve has been so steep. And sometimes to me, it feels like when the young people are saying it's still not good enough, like you need to try harder. And it's like, no, you need to try harder to understand some of the wisdom that we are carrying with us as well. So we all just need to acknowledge that we all are carrying gifts and wisdom and abilities. And some young souls are still carrying that karma. They're coming in that they've agreed to carry some of that heavier karma to transmute it rapidly. So I wouldn't do a blanket statement,
Right.
I would say. Yeah.
Right. And I think some of the brightest ones are going through that and
Yes.
healing.
Yeah.
And they're becoming the healers. I
Yeah.
know. My daughter she has wisdom way beyond me, and my son too. It's just like, God, where did you learn that? I'm going to take that course. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess I asked that question about the dragons because my daughter always had an eye that looked like a porpoise or a whale eye or a dragon eye, and she is very into dragons. And
Uh,
I feel like a lot of the kids now, that's their thing, and I know a lot of people here too.
mhm.
That's our thing, and I wonder about that calling.
I have a lot of my students work with dragons, a lot of them. I will have a dragon come through once in a while, but that's not my main work. That's not the main energies that I work with.
Yeah.
But no, a lot of my students are very much work with a lot of dragon energy.
Well, that makes so much sense. Thank you, because that's, amazing. This is all amazing information. We're just on pins and needles here. So, what do you see the core of the planet as being? That was one of my other favorite things that I thought about asking you. Like, with all the crystalline energy around the planet, do you see at the core with Mother Gaia, what do you see there? Or do you see anything? I don't know.
Yeah, so I am quite fascinated with there is a magnetic ball, and this magnetic ball is moving, and so I see that a lot, and sometimes it's like it comes with a smell. It comes with definitely an enormous sensation of power. There's a lot of power there. Um, but it's like one of those balls where, you can see the electricity coming off of it. Uh,
Mhm.
and it would be like a blue electricity is what I'm seeing coming off of it right now. I definitely see the underworld. I don't see it at the core of the earth, the underworld.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't see it at the core, but I do see it outside the core, and I see it as at another. So if we're looking at the core of the earth is like 3,500 miles deep, it's like the underworld might be 2,000 miles deep, so that's kind of how I see the underworld. However, at the core of the earth, like really in the core are these crystals, and I've seen them as blue, although they could be quartz crystal that have just been illuminated by the blue light. But what's happening now is I've been making these videos because the blue is radiating between the crystals and that powerful magnetic core, and it's coming back up through the earth, and it's really popping out at different places in the world, and almost like it's been supercharged by the surges that came through in November. Um, but there's several levels of the underworld. So there are some that are very, very, very deep, almost like it's it's like the most ancient of ancients are there. And then yeah, I see as many, many layers, just like we have many layers
Yeah,
above, where we have different dimensional beings that live in different layers. So it's the same with the underworld as well. But it's beautiful. Yeah, it's really, really rich and beautiful there.
I love this idea. I love that, and I can see it when you're talking about it.
Mm.
That's just beautiful, beautiful. Um, so we've got about 10 minutes left. What would you like to tell us about? What's your I don't know, anything
Huh.
new coming up or anything that you feel like we should know?
Hmm. Hmm. Well, um, what the next, definitely the next 3 months, you really want to be paying attention. And it's information that kind of comes through when I say you want to be paying attention. You don't want to be cutting corners. You don't want to be slacking. You want to keep up with your meditations. You want to keep up with your water. You want to keep up with some good sleep, because it's almost like we are being catapulted in April to a whole other dimension. So I've already said that. Um, and right now we're having a lot of male divine male energy coming in. Yesterday, the words that I heard are the grandfathers are awakening the grandfathers, and the grandfathers, and those grandfathers are awakening the grandfathers, and those. And I was talking to another friend who's a Lakota medicine man, and he goes, "No, that's the grandmothers." And I said, "No, it's the grandfathers." And he said, "Really?" And I said, "Yes, because we're going to be having such enormous surges of the feminine divine that we need to really heal and solidify the male energy, the male frequency, the divine masculine, or whatever, however someone wants to describe that, the yang energy." But I love how they describe it as the grandfathers are awakening the grandfathers who are awakening the grandfathers. I think that really, so that's now, that's happening right now as we speak. And that's going to continue well into mid-April. And then there's going to be that diamond light that comes in, and there's going to be another big surge of the feminine. So it's, yeah, especially in the next few months, it's just no slackers. No slacking.
Wow. Amazing.
I mean, there's a lot of people that don't know what's happening, and they're going to be fine. But if you really want to take advantage, I guess I should put it that way, of optimizing everything that's available to you right now to do it at a conscious level, this is the time to put in the effort and the focus.
And we were talking about that backstage too, everybody. And it was kind of like, for me, when the pandemic started, or before that, like 10 years before that, I was like, why me? What did I do? And then when the pandemic started, and there was so much pain, but there was also so much beauty and so much to learn.
Yeah.
It was such an awakening. And now seeing things consciously, that all the work that you've done here, the tribe, it's like, all of a sudden we're just awakening. It's amazing to see it consciously.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely was at a point where because I was told back in 2007 there would be a mass awakening on the earth, and Spirit wanted me to write a book about it, but I thought it sounded too fantastical. And so I finally put it down, stopped writing it. But and I kept hearing this as like this mass awakening, a mass awakening. And finally, I think it was like 2020 or before COVID, or maybe it was right at COVID. It was like, I don't think I'm going to live long enough to see this time that all Spirit's been telling me about. And so when it started happening, you could have just seen me running around my yard like, oh, it's happening. It's happening. I'm so excited it's happening. And I always have a saying that that you've arrived, spiritually, that you're awakened, you're enlightened when you stop caring, whether you're enlightened and are awakened, and you stop caring you stop desiring to be somewhere else, be on another planet, be on the other side. It's like, when you start getting excited about what's going to happen tomorrow and what's going to happen tomorrow, even if it's rough, it's like, wow, it's like, get the popcorn. Okay, how's the divine going to get us out of this one? How are we going to get ourselves out of this one? And so it's like, once you get there, then you really arrived, because, I've been around high level spiritual teachers, and they struggle just like we do.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah. They have hard times just like we do.
Yeah.
They get tired, fatigued, burned out, just like we do. And that's why I always say now we're stronger together than we were ever apart. And we just need to keep doing that. And that's why I'm just so thrilled that you are bringing people together as well. You're doing your part as well, to help people remember, because these are hard times that we're living through.
Yeah. They are. They're, I mean, I don't know what else is going to happen with the planet, but He says, I used to run around saying I was here for a mission. And then when the lockdown started, I said, it's begun. People still think I'm crazy. I don't mind.
Exactly. Exactly. And I get super, super excited. And the hard part is it's like I'm really excited about what's coming up in the next few months. But you'd find me just writing like I'm trying to flush out a language, to describe what's happening. And I think that's the hardest part. So we'll probably be creating some new languages.
I love that. We love light language. So yeah, we're in it to win it with you, man. Well,
Awesome.
I know a lot of people here watch your shows too. So we're just all thrilled that you were here today. Thank you.
Yeah. When we first talked, and then she was like, I bet you're really busy right now. And I said, well, yeah. And she goes, well, with the blue light and all. And I'm like, well, I've been working with it for a few years. So I've already kind of gotten prepared, like you're about ready to bake a pie, but you've got all the ingredients out there. And she says something. And finally I was like, wait a minute. Are you trying to ask me to be on your show? Is that what you're getting at? She goes, yeah, but I imagine you're too busy. I said, no, I will get up at 2:00 in the morning to do your show.
Thank you. Thank you.
I will move heaven and earth.
Oh, I'm such a fan of her. Oh my God. I love her too. And she was so sweet to me. I emailed her and I just started the channel. I think I'd been on for 6 months or something, but I was so thrilled with her. I was like, would you come on my channel? And she said, oh, thank you very much, Teri. I mean, she sent me the most polite email and she's like, I'm sorry to say that. And I emailed her back. I'm like, I can't believe you sent me an email.
Exactly.
I'm going to print this out and put it on my wall.
Exactly. No, she's very, very kind. And she's going to interview me again on March 8th.
Oh, March 8th, everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Nancy has lots of classes.
Yes, I do teach intuitive and psychic development. I do teach it through a form, what's called intuitive meditative style. However, so I have they're all year-long programs because it becomes a lifestyle, a way of working with the techniques. And so Psychic Mastery 1 is a full year, Psychic Mastery 2 is a full year, Psychic Mastery 3 is a full year program. And so I just highly recommend that you read through them and get your name on the mailing list. Psychic Mastery 2 only opens in January, so it won't open again until 2025. But Psychic Mastery 1, I open once or twice a year. It just really depends on if I'm guided to do it or not.
Yeah.
And so, but if you put your name on the mailing list, that will, you'll get notified, waiting list. And then also you can sign up for my mailing list too and get the intuitive style questionnaire. And then you're always kind of in the know of what's going on.
Yeah. I'm taking one of your free courses right now and it's the intuitive. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys, that's all out there and it's amazing.
Yeah. And the videos too, they really teach a lot about the energetic frequencies and perspectives about things. And it's always important to me. I also have a nonprofit called soulseeds.org. And that's my nonprofit. And we have taught for several years homeless youth, teaching meditation and senior citizens and different groups in our area, different agencies. So I can take a look at that as well. So I'm always into the free stuff, that it be meaningful, that it be full of some really rich material. So,
well, you offer a lot free. I mean, you're on YouTube with meditations and talking to everybody and sharing, and that's huge.
Yeah. Well, Spirit really wanted me to start making YouTube, first come on live on Facebook. And oh man, I did not want to do that. And then it was like, we want you to start making videos on YouTube, which isn't really easy for me. Like, I like this format conversational format. So it's a little harder to sit in front of a camera and you can't see anybody but the window behind you and
Yeah.
try to pretend like people are listening. But this is how it works for me. And I know it works for you all or anybody who's listening to this as well, that if spirit, or God or the angels or your own intuition, if you're guided to do something, you are given more than enough energy to accomplish it. And so whenever I'm asked to do things, I'm reminded that I will be provided all the energy that I need to do it. So
Yeah, I love that. And I found that checking in, that piece of curiosity, am I up for this? And then I ask myself and I give myself a chance,
yeah,
moment and abide. And I'm like, I'm shocked because I am then.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God, that works. Yeah.
Yeah, they just give you this extra boost of energy, and then you're like, "Wow, I want another boost of that. So what do I need to do next?"
Right.
And I have a great support team too. I mean, I've got Kathy and Yvonne. We've been together forever, and we know each other like hand in glove. And so I'm really fortunate that way too, that they are very much into living this spiritual path and helping others as well. So
That's beautiful. Beautiful service. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on again, or again. This must be intuitive. So,
thank you
Rebecca.
so much for asking and having me on. And
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, Kathy sent me your information. I haven't done this. I haven't interviewed except, with Pam before. And but Kathy was like, I really like her vibe. So
Oh, that's so kind. Well, that's so nice. Well, thank you a million times. And thank you, everybody, for being here. And we will see you tomorrow morning, if not sooner. Bye bye. Uh oh, hit the wrong thing.